Hey everybody, it is Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019, 10 a.m. or 10 military time. Yeah, it's the good stuff. So this week, right, Thursday and Friday, the results for advancements come out for the test that we took on March. Before you make your rank or after you make your rank, you take what's called a petty officer indoctrination. So for me, I'm trying to be a petty officer second class. So I was scheduled on Tuesday in the morning for a petty officer indoc for second class from like 0930 to 1930. Yeah, so we're about 10 hours there. And since I work nights, on Monday I secured early, so came in to shift at 19 and then left at 24 midnight, or balls to Tuesday 0000, right? And it was a very busy day that day. I was alone at the moment for that amount of time, and customers would come in non-stop, secret parts and giant parts, high dollar value parts, and I took care of almost everything except for three. One was a big part, which was basically done. All I needed to do was turn it over to the next process. The next one, which I had to leave, was a confidential because it's a long process. I didn't have time. I needed to get some sleep so I can focus in class for the next day. So I had a coworker, and the third one was a high dollar value one. So I had a coworker. She came in. She's older than me, right? I think about like a year or two. So, and she's an airman. She's like E3. I'm an E4, right? And she's been in for a year, and I've been in for 4 years. And if you've watched my previous videos, you kind of can tell that I don't get along professionally all too well with her. I just disagree with how she was raised and how she works and all that kind of stuff. But it's just something that, as a petty officer, I have to take into consideration and account for and try to understand. So I gave her my tasks, right? I said, hey, make sure, number one, in our workload, we have, I think it was about 15 different items that we needed to clear. So I told her, hey, clear as much as you can, right? That's number one. Number two, and I wrote it on the board so she didn't forget. Number two, make sure this confidential parts gets taken care of, because that's very, very important. And number three, every single day I send an email at 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock. 4 o'clock, basically what happened within a 24-hour period, and 6 o'clock, basically the amount of work I did for the shift from 19 up until now to my higher ups. Basically just number of parts, so they want to see if I was busy or not, or during the day they kind of add it up together and then make whatever production numbers for the month. And lastly was the high dollar value part. So everything was good with this high dollar value part. Right? All it needed to be done was, it was pretty heavy, right? It was about 80 pounds, I would say. All that needed to be done was take the part. You have a dolly, right? A dolly is like, it's like little two things with wheels, for those of you who don't know what a dolly is. So you can put a part on there, drag it on. A female can drag it on as long as a male puts it on, right? A female can drag it on. And then go to middle of the aircraft carrier. It's called a hangar bay, right? There's hangar bay 1, 2, and 3. In hangar bay 3, in the middle, there is a big, giant, gray, plastic box. It's called an isopod, right? So I told her, hey, you and one of the supply guys, right, get together, carry this, go all the way, go to hangar bay 3, in the middle of the mountain, where it's like a mountain of parts. In the middle of the mountain, you can't miss it. It's the only giant gray box. It had to be like, I don't know, like 4 foot high, and 6 foot wide-ish, right? It's not that heavy, right? 4 foot high, 6 foot wide, right? And all you have to do is make sure you and the other guy coordinate, put it in, lock it in place, and then it'll be good to go, right? So the next day, and instantly I already had a feeling. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope she does this, because this is actually very important that we get this done, because it's very, very expensive, and it's very, very important that we get this done, because the next day it's going to fly off the ship, right? Because it's got to be repaired. So I woke up. So I went to sleep around like 0100 on Tuesday, and I woke up at 6:40, like 6 o'clock. Went to eat, came to work at 6:45, and there, behold, it was still there. And I was like, all right. In my mind, there was no reason why it shouldn't have been done. But let me ask, like, you never know what could have happened, right? You never know. So I was like, hey, why wasn't this done? Why am I still looking at this? And she's like, well, it was super busy, which I understand. It does get busy, I've been through it, but it's not that busy where you didn't have 10 minutes to get this part and go all the way and put it in. I cleared the mailbox as much as I can. I sent the emails, and I took care of the confidential part. But for this one, I was in the area at Hair Bay. I looked over, I couldn't find it, and so and then I asked the supply guys. So, mind you, supply guys have nothing to do with this, right? I just told her to get help from the supply guys because she's a female, right? And they're male; they can lift 80 pounds easier than the female. So she's like, yeah, I asked the supply guys, and they didn't know anything about it, which they shouldn't. Right, because it's not pertaining to them. You just get the help from them. And I was like, okay. So we're gonna do this right now. Right, mind you, it's 6:45. At 07, we had meeting. We had to go to a meeting. But in my mind, at least, like, this has to be taken care of. This is not a joke. Like, this is going to be flown off in like 3 hours. Right, it's very important that we pass it on to the next step so they can package it properly, put the proper paperwork around it, and put it up in the flight deck. And then, when the plane hits, they're gonna put it in, because I've done that job before, right? It's very important that they get this done, because it's very, very expensive. We need this thing. Normally, if she was a guy, so this is one of the dilemmas that you may or may not agree with, but I'm just gonna share with you. If my coworker was a male, right? A male, capable male, I would tell him, hey, do this right now. I'm gonna watch you, right? Because I want to. So my coworker has been in for a year. I've been in for, round up next June, 4 years, right? I have been raised within the military with the get it done mentality, with the get it done mindset. Get it done no matter what. Right? If somebody tells me, hey, go bring me a bucket of paint, right? And I'll say, well, we ran out of paint in the ship. And my supervisor will tell me, well, go figure it out. Right? That's how I was raised in the military. How my coworker was raised, she's brand new, came to where I work, and my chief is a very loving, family-oriented person, right? Which I understand, and she's very lucky for that. But she wasn't exposed to the military, in my opinion. I can't really define what the military is. I've been in for 4 years, so take it for what it's worth, right? To me, the military is like, hey, you were told to do something, get it done. Right? And make sure you don't put yourself in a harm's way, but safely, methodically, get it done. At the end of the day, get it done. So if she was a male, I would tell her or tell him, like, hey, get it done, let's go. Right? Because I know exactly where it is. So she's not a male, right? So basically I had to get the dolly, put the part on the dolly, and I was like, hey, grab the paperwork, let's go. Right? So we went Hangar Bay 3. And boom, as soon as we were walking over, right there is the giant gray isopod And I was like, it's crazy how it was right here, right? And she's like, well, I didn't see it. So I think what happened was she may have, I want to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's at nighttime, she looked and didn't really see it, or maybe she saw it and she's like, I didn't want to do it. I don't know what happened, right? Maybe she genuinely didn't see it. But it was, to me, it's as clear as like, hey, you walk into this room and you're going to see a locker, right? It was that clear. Like, you walk into hangar bay and you're going to see a giant gray box. But some people are genuinely oblivious, so I'm gonna give that benefit of the doubt. So basically, for like 5-10 minutes, I had to like carry this on by myself and put this on, and I had to like shimmy it on and make sure it's like put into the right place and all that kind of stuff, which it's a hassle with this specific part because there's like 2 little knobs that you have to enter in and you have to like lock in different kind of stuff. But yeah, did that basically by myself. My hands were all covered in grease, and I just took a shower that morning. Went back to work, did the meeting, went off to cleaning stations, and then after that, went to Petty Officer Indoc, which is the next topic. So like I said, it was from like 9:30, starting at 9:30 all the way till about 19:20 was when we finished yesterday. So the lead instructor was a CS1, it's from supply department, this guy I know. So first classes, E6s led the whole program, right? And they had guests, like supervisor was like a chief E7, but we had guest speakers, like 3 different master chiefs came in to speak and kind of they weren't like scheduled, they just like dropped by because Petty Officer Indoc is important, is valuable. So they just dropped by and gave their opinions because they've been in the military for 25 plus years. With all 3 of these master chiefs specifically, they've been in for plus 25 years, which is a lot because I'm 25 right now. So they've been when I was born is when they joined the Navy, kind of. So one thing I disliked was a lot of the immaturity of the people, right? The people that I work with within this ship. So many people just are the level of disrespect, and I'm not saying young people too, right? I'm also saying like people who are around my age, 25, 26, and people who are older, 30s, they can also be immature. Like my coworker who was clearly older than me, right? So you would ideally think she should be a lot more mature, but instead, she would always make excuses as to why things were not done and, do things she didn't want to do. But yeah, that kind of ruins the military experience for me, right? I'm not like gung-ho military by any means, but when somebody, like the first classes, when they give lectures and when they're the instructors, when they cover a topic, they've been in for maybe 10, maybe 15 years, they're gonna know a thing or two about, being a good person or being a leadership, being in a leadership positions, right? But so many people will always have their side conversations and all that kind of stuff. And, for me, it's like this. When you watch Men in Black, right? When you watch Men in Black, the first one, you see Will Smith, right, come in and fill out like some type of paperwork. Everybody else is all military, right? Trying to be professional, but here's this guy just dragging a table and like making up his own little program. It's like that, right? I'm the military guy trying to follow the military instructions and learn and absorb as much as I can, but there's so many like distractions, so many immature people that it just like ruins the experience for me. So I really did enjoy hearing from the 3 different Master Chiefs. One came in the beginning, one came in the middle, one came at the end. But one thing that stood out to me the most came from a first class, right? He was covering the topic of communication. And I hope I am communicating to you well, right? And he gave this example. He points at somebody and he says, hey, it's 11:50. And the person that he pointed at looks at his watch and he says, no, it's 10:58. And the instructor says, feedback. Right? I said something, he understood, he corrected me and gave me feedback and gave me the correct time. That's feedback. Right? So one thing that how that pertains to me was I am telling you something, right? And you're processing it within your mind, things that I'm saying. And I hope that you give me feedback as to, you know, whatever it is, whatever feedback you want to give me, good, bad, ugly, whatever, in the comment section. So one thing that I do need to work on a lot is more feedback so I can improve, right? So I can get it right. So yeah, that was that. And at the end, the Admiral came on the 1MC, which is the announcement that we have, which is about to come on shortly because it's 10:59. The Admiral came on and basically said, hey, the port to Bahrain or wherever in the Middle East that we were supposed to go to on June 4th is canceled. And a lot of people's morale is starting to go down. And with that, right, to counteract that, the ship is raising its stress management programs. You know, a lot of the chiefs are, you know, talking about stress management, the stress management programs, the stress management things that happen all over the ship on a daily basis, right? Because, you know, we first missed Croatia to come here, and then after that, you know, we're not going to Bahrain, you know, and even on top of that, you know, we're in this 90 to, at minimum 90, to as high as 110 degrees, 120 degrees sometimes, type of environment. So it gets hot. People are not that happy because, you know, they want to get their music, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. For me, I think as far as right now, I'm holding up pretty okay. I'm not too upset. I still got my food. That's about it. It's a long video. Thanks for listening. I'm tired. Gonna go lay in my rack. Read the letter from my girlfriend and watch some videos and go to sleep. So, thanks for watching. See ya.